Shop. I'm Chetan. With me is Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Chris, we have a special guest of us. Who is it?
It's Rebecca from My Moving Parts here in Toronto.
So, hello, Rebecca.
Hi.
We invited you because you're fellow geek.
Yes, yes, proudly actually.
So, tell us
Absolutely.
about you. What do you do?
What do I do? So, as like a side gig, I'm a florist. I'm a floral designer, but my true passion and my main focus is a screen printer. So yeah, my spouse and I have a company where we screen print apparel. We also do a lot of screen printing and work for other small businesses who want to bring their images and their creations to life, and it's our goal to help them with that. But our main focus is the collaboration for different art and to make the world a little more colorful and a little stranger, and to work together to do that. So it's kind of who we are.
And so when you're talking about screen printing, like t-shirts, I guess is a big part of it. Is there anything else you guys do?
Yeah. So we do all kinds of apparel. So we do t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tote bags, but we also do cards and we do posters and prints as well. So and this coming year, I have plans to try to print on more challenging apparatuses like leather or glass bottles. So
Oh,
I'm always
wow.
moving forward. Yeah, I'm always
That's
moving
how,
forward and trying new things.
I was going to ask you, like, I mean, t-shirts and everything everybody knows about, but
Yeah.
like the more challenging things, like, how do you even wrap your head around that sort of thing?
So, and this is the part where I think most, especially DIYers or other creatives, have to get a little brave. You try and then you fail, and then you try and then you fail. And I reach out to other printers, and I'm on YouTube a lot. To be honest, like the way it started, that what really fueled it all is that my spouse is this brilliant artist, and he had all of these really great drawings and they were just sitting in a sketchbook, and I was like, there's no way that people can see this if it's hidden here. So I was like, I'm gonna learn how to transfer your images to other like apparel or whatever it is. But I didn't go for screen printing right away because I was really intimidated by it. And then all of the other methods that I was using, I found they lacked detail, and they lacked the ability to do more widespread work. So I reached out to 401. It's the 401 Richmond. It's an art space. I spent a ridiculous amount of money hoping that they would teach me how to screen print. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't learn very much. The way I really learned was failing. Like, I've never learned more by failing in my life. And then I had one other who I would refer to as a mentor, a screen printing buddy who I bounced ideas off of, um, who came to me when I was struggling. And so the real way that you get better or you learn how to do different things is just, you just don't stop. You just don't stop. You just keep going. So when it comes to learning how to screen print on leather shoes or glass bottles, I've seen videos, and then I'm going to try, and then I'm going to watch more videos, and then I'm going to try again. And I think that's the fuel, like that's the real kind of push if you're going to be successful when it comes to things like this, is just don't stop when it gets hard, because
I
it's going to.
remember, I'm older than you guys. So, I remember like in grade school watching videos. I remember at school, they showed us videos and even on commercials, start up, telling, kids, start up your own screen printing business, sell t-shirts on the side. And
Yeah.
honestly, you're a perfect example of those commercials.
Yeah. The one thing I can say too, and I want to acknowledge how lucky we are. We have a basement. Like, I have a space where I can make it work, because it's not like when you see those commercials like start up your own screen printing business and make t-shirts, there is a certain element, like, I'm lucky I don't have to pay for a studio, and I'm lucky
That's
that I
it.
have a giant
Yes.
sink. Like, I have a giant laundry room sink, and I'm lucky that I have this room in our basement that I can kind of, I mean, the word sacrifice sounds dramatic, but sacrifice to our small business. Because screen printing, especially the way we do it. Like I burn my own screens, I wash my own screens out. There's a certain amount of chemical safety involved in all of that. I only use water-based inks because it's in my house and I have small children here.
That's
But you
it.
do require a certain amount of space, and it's worth it for me to acknowledge how lucky we are that we have access to that. Because it takes a lot. Like even now, my computer is resting. I wish I could show you. It's this wooden table that I had someone cut at Home Depot and I screwed it together with brackets and I spent I think it was like $90 on the piece of glass that goes on top, but I made almost everything by hand just to get started. But I'm lucky that I have a space to put the table, so it's
Now,
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
that kind of situation also allows you to understand the process a little bit better. So like
yes.
if you're sitting there building all your own
yeah,
equipment, you might rather than just going out and buying equipment. Like I took some screen printing classes at Sheridan,
Yeah.
and they have everything. They have like
Yeah.
a walk-in heating room to like everything like that. And
Yeah.
so when I learned it, it's like I learned it, but like I didn't really like. I at one point after I left, I tried to make my own sort of the little padded surface that you sometimes do print like I did some prints. I tried to make my own with a piece of masonite, and I was like fighting with it for like hours because
Yes.
I'm used to the one they had at Sheridan that was done by like an upholsterer and it was brilliantly done. So you seem to have a really big advantage sort of starting out that way because
Yeah.
you're like you understand the process, and in the failures that you've done you sort of really learned the process. And I imagine
Absolutely.
that you probably be somebody now, you probably have people calling you now asking, well, I want to
We
start my own business, what can I do?
I do actually. I actually really encourage other people because whenever we work markets or shows, there's always people who reach out and they're like, ask how to do it. And I'm always encouraging people to ask me because I'll share all the information. I gatekeep nothing. I want as
see, that's
many
great to hear. That's great
yeah,
to
no,
hear.
I want as many geeks and weirdos and artists making weird apparel as possible. And I want even consumers to have as many options alternative to Old Navy or Amazon
Mm.
or whatever as possible. Like, so yeah, the more weirdos making t-shirts, the better. I am a community over competition person
See that we had
100%
this
of the time.
talk a while back with one of the comic store owners, and he said the same thing about us. He goes, "You guys share all your ideas." I go, "Why not?" I'm not keeping my suppliers secret. I'm not keeping this at printers. Share. Create a community.
Yeah.
This is this is just it. And I feel like it's the best way to kind of counter this neo capitalism world that we live in. Like it's a weird thing because like I love free markets. Like I love the idea that I didn't have to get permission from some dictator to be an artist. Like I'm grateful for that, but at the same time, um I don't want to gatekeep information in this idea of competition. Like I want other t-shirt companies to fail so they only buy from us. Like
That's it. Yes.
it's
It
fundamentally
is.
against who I am. So I
Yeah.
And
want everyone to succeed. I want
I
everyone to
remember
do well.
Chris and I used to work at an art store downtown Toronto, and I remember they used to have the speedball screen printing kits, and we used to sell
Yeah.
them like crazy. And I remember for years and years, I'm going, I want to buy one of those kits and learn screen printing. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, never got the nerve to buy one to try it out, because it would just, it just seemed, every time someone bought one, I used to ask them questions and stuff like that. And it just,
Yeah.
it's just something, just scared me, honestly.
It is an intimidating project. Like every part of screen printing leaves really big opportunities to fail. Every part of it. And I think it is really scary to try something knowing you're going to fail at the very beginning. And it's big. It's big. It's like every part of it. Like when you look at it, you see someone really simple putting a screen down and then pulling ink over it and they pull it back and it's successful. When you see just kind of that micro step in the process, you're like, yeah, I can do that until you need to get the screen and you need to lay the
That's
screen
it.
down properly and you need to pull the ink through the teeny tiny holes the right way. But, and I mean this, if you want to try it, you go get yourself one of those kits and you have any questions, you let me know and we can get through it
Thank
step by
you.
step.
Thank you.
Maybe
100%.
we'll do a
And
special
I mean,
episode.
Yeah, special screen printing. I'm a DIY screen printer. I'm your girl. You let me know. I'll do it.
so let me ask you, of all the t-shirts you printed so far, and I've seen all of the amazing quality, amazing detail, what's your best t-shirt you printed so far that you liked personally?
Okay, so tricky. Okay, so I feel like there's two answers. Okay, so hands down, undeniably, the most successful shirt that we have is our thoughts and prayers shirt. That's actually there's an image. It says thoughts and prayers, and it's the devil, and he's got like it says no problem down his arms, and that shirt's obviously a play on anytime there's any sort of tragedy in the world, people are like thoughts and prayers. I feel like a policy change might be more effective. Rob had drawn that image before my moving parts ever existed. It was like a cathartic expression to one of these tragedies that had happened in the world. And when I saw that, I was like, I have to figure out a way to put that image on a shirt because that's going to speak to people. And it is one of the first shirts we ever did. And it's still on our table now because one, it's still relevant. And two, it still speaks to people. I have no idea how many times I've done a run of that shirt because it's so phenomenally successful. I might, do you want me to pull one out?
No,
I can show you.
No, you know what? We'll put an image on our screen later.
yeah, we'll put an image. Yes.
So that's probably our most successful one, but my favorite one is the one that I'm wearing right now. And it's hard to see. So it's a sunflower, but inside the sunflower is honeycomb and bees. I'm sorry, the image is not, but you can show
No,
that
we'll
one
put an
later
image.
too.
Yeah, we'll put an image
Um,
up.
and this is probably one of my favorite ones because so it's the magic. This is one that when Rob and I work together, there's some things where Rob just draws and it's his mind and it's his image and the wonders of his weird artistic brain, they translate beautifully, especially into apparel. But this was something that lived in my mind as a like I, fantasy or magic, because sunflowers and bees, particularly honeybees, um, there's a really beautiful relationship between the two of them, and to see them together like this was magic. And sometimes, very often, I'll just go to my spouse and I'll be like, hey Rob, I got this idea, I want to see sunflowers, but instead of the black part I want to see honeybees. And he's like, what? And so and it's hard, especially as he's this artist, and if I have something in my head, how is it supposed to get into his, and how is he supposed to execute it with the same kind of whimsy I see in my mind. And
And
so
the
we talked.
worst part is your business partners and your husband and wife also.
Oh,
So the fights are going to happen.
absolutely. And this shirt was one of those. I talked to him about bringing this to life for like 7 or 8 months, like 7 or 8 months of me just begging. Like, I just want to see this. I just want to, and anyways, when he did this, like, and we always sit down together. He'll draw something, and then and again, because he's my spouse, I have no problem being like radically honest with him. And I'll be like, well, that's great, but it could be better if you did this. So it really is a collaboration of our ideas. But this one in particular, like he just executed it perfectly, exactly the way I wanted to see it in my mind. And then there's always this moment of fear, especially when it's my kind of idea or my image. And all the work that he puts into it. And then we put it to market. And I'm like, oh my God, no one's going to buy the shirt. It's going to be terrible. And then this was like a really wildly successful um, print for us. So this is probably my favorite because I fought for it. We worked together. It was beautiful. And it came out exactly as I wanted. So this is my favorite, and my moving parts was successful. Definitely thoughts and prayers. 100%.
That's awesome.
So,
Thank you.
So I imagine that, you're going to say something?
no, go for it. Go for it. I'll ask afterwards.
So I imagine as a screen printer, you're probably dealing a lot with understanding color.
Yes.
Like that's something that we as comic book artists often wrestle with, because like both of us have said certain times we'll do a comic book and we'll be like, maybe we'll just leave it black and white because like, I can't figure it out.
Both of us are not good at coloring.
No.
Yeah.
I have, for my comic book that I did, I have a color palette that I designed at the beginning, and I've just never changed it. Like I'm just like, nope, that's my color. That's what I'm doing. And so, but I imagine as a screen printer, like color just has to be on the forefront of your brain all the time.
So all of it. And just for fun, my spouse, who's a comic book artist just like yourselves, he's also colorblind. So I kid you not. And it's literally everything, right? Because I have to think about how the ink interacts with each other, because and especially with water-based ink, if I don't cure it, like I don't dry it before I put the second layer, you'll make a third color, which
Yeah.
sometimes is exactly what you want, and sometimes it's the bane of my existence. So yeah, we're always thinking about. I am always thinking about color, everything, and then different colors have different transparencies.
Mhm.
So
Oh yes, yes.
yeah, so like and there's certain things too. Like if I put a dark color on a light shirt, easy peasy, no problem. That dark color is going to be opaque and it's going to look awesome. But if I put a light color on a dark shirt, it never sits solid, right? And because I use water-based inks, sometimes you literally have to put a layer down, and then I use a heat gun to dry it, and then I put another layer on top of it because I want it to really pop, right? Like I want the color to be stronger.
So I guess it takes a lot of trial and error to
So,
put down the colors, because then you have to figure out, does the yellow go down first or the green go down first, you know?
it's a huge that is a huge part of it, and like your goal is almost always put the light color down first because the dark color can go on top and mask anywhere where
That's
the
it.
ink has gone where
Yes.
it's not supposed to be. But there are some images where, depending on how Rob has designed it, or like put it on two separate screens, where you don't have a choice, where you have to put the dark one down first, and those kind of things can be particularly challenging. And then the other reality is that we are putting these shirts to market. So the way our customers interact with shirts and colors is really important too. Like we've done a few on white shirts, but I think we're done. Like we can't really do white shirts anymore because so many people are afraid of wearing white t-shirts. Like I know that sounds crazy, but like people are genuinely afraid of staining shirts and looking
Yes, that's
right.
yes.
It really is. And then we have like a spectrum of skin complexions, and different colored shirts interact with different skin complexions in completely different ways. So certain people are like, yeah, I'm not wearing that one because that one makes me look like my liver is failing, or I won't wear that color because it makes me look like I'm about to throw up. So you have to kind of consider what's going to be the most accessible color for all people. What's the color that most people are going to wear? For me, that's really hard because everyone loves black, right? Like everyone's like, I love a
But have
black
you
shirt.
have you experimented where, I know it's expensive to experiment in your field, where,
Yeah.
you know, let's say the sunflower one, I'm going to print it on a fuchsia colored t-shirt, you know.
So so here's the truth. So we do experiment with things a little bit. And once for like the sunflower shirt, the biggest issue is that it's a two-color shirt, and the registration, which refers to the way you line up your screen so that the ink hits the right spot. Once that work is done, once I have my screens registered the right way, and I do it manually, I don't have one of those fancy micro XY registration. I literally line my shirts up. I tighten the screens, and then I pray that first time when I pull that they're lined up the right way. So once that part of it is done, it's not a big deal to experiment with different colors. Like on the sunflower shirt, we did one on navy, looked amazing, and I did one on purple, and I'm like, that also looked spectacular. The problem is that if you give your customers too many options, and I know this sounds ridiculous, it can confuse them,
It
and
will, yes.
and they'll be like, oh, I don't know if I want the purple or I want the navy, so I'm just not going to buy one. Or, oh, you have a purple one, I love the purple one, can I take it in medium? Oh, you don't have that one in medium. It's like, so there's two parts to it. Is like, one,
Yeah,
less options makes things easier,
that's it.
and and then this part, like, I don't mean to sound pretentious because that's not my intention ever. I'm like the least pretentious person ever, but I really do think about each shirt, each print like a piece of art. So I'm really deliberate in how I pick the colors of our shirts because I love the representation. And we are brave with colors. Like we have mint green, and we have red, and we have pink, and we have navy, and we do a spectrum of things. But um I really like picking a specific shirt for a specific print and doing it very deliberately. So yeah, so
That's not
I
pretentious at all, because as
okay.
comic book creators,
Yeah.
like we'll sit there with our printers and be like, I want this paper.
Yeah,
I
oh,
want,
100.
so it's exactly the same thing. And it's
Exactly the
not being
same.
pretentious.
Yes.
It's about we know how the image is going to look best to our head in our brains.
Yeah.
And so that's not pretentious at all. That you're like, I you should get this shirt in a blue because
Yeah.
that's what makes this pop. It's like that totally makes sense because we will sit there again. with the papers, like our printers being like, no, 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 I want this paper, or I want this, this glossy thing or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not, as an artist, it should, that can't be pretentious. That's part of your art. That's totally legit.
I appreciate you saying that because sometimes, and it's all, this is also tricky. You ready for this? Like, I don't think of myself as an artist, and I don't mean that as a negative. Like, I'm not like trying to demote myself or anything like that. I mean this. You guys might consider yourselves artists. My spouse is most definitely an artist. Artists are crazy, like, and I guess that's what makes you guys better because there's always this drive, and I've seen it in almost every artist I know, and I'm assuming you guys have a similar characteristic. Is there's always a drive to be better than the last comic you made or the last image you made, or Rob will look at one of our shirts or one of our prints and I'll be like, oh man, I could have done it better if I did A, B, and C. You know what I
That's
mean?
all of us. That's all
Right,
of
all
us.
exact, and like that
Yeah.
to me is exhausting. And I am a maker and a creator, in the sense that I'm always thinking about similar things too. Not necessarily the same kind of like that last one was shit, I'm gonna do better, but I'm always thinking like, what can we do next to enhance what we've done? How can we expand? And so I'm crazy, but not the same artist.
See, the problem with us is you're looking at, say, you just said it. You're looking at the next project and say, what could I do better? We're looking
Yeah,
back and going, I want to retouch that. I want to redo this. Do our George Lucas on it, and
yeah,
and change it. But bottom
yeah.
line is we shouldn't be touching it. We should be just moving on.
For exactly, learn from what you've done. What can we do differently in the
But
future
it's
instead of
it's but it sounds too easy. But
I know
your
because you artists are crazy. It's
that's
fine.
it.
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm surrounded by artists. It's
Yes.
cool. But
Maybe you are an artist, but you're just not crazy.
yeah, maybe. No, but that's the problem. It's like I am definitely crazy, just like not not as the maker component of it. But I am definitely like again, and I don't say that
There's
as like a
levels of craziness now.
it's true. There is a spectrum. And as a printer, and it's so funny because like as a printer, I really am crazy and I'm really hard on myself. And Rob will come up with an image and I really the way that I make my screens or that I burn my screens, it's literally like a 500-watt bulb and a table with a piece of glass on it. And I'm pretty proud of the details that I can get from such like a rudimentary system. But Rob will draw something and I'm like, are you trying to kill me? Like, I'm never going to be able to do your art justice like that. And he's like, babe, every time you do it, it's great. And in my mind, it's never great enough. So maybe I am fracking.
Question for you. How has digital age affected your work style?
So to be honest, for me, it hasn't affected it so much because the digital age was always a part of how I printed in the sense that like I needed the images to come through Photoshop or Procreate, which is how Rob does it, so I could print our film positives, which are like I can show you a quick thing here. So it's like this is like one of our newer shirts coming. It's on an acetate. So I have always kind of worked with this method. There are other methods that printers use that are much less digital or technological, where you can draw on a piece of paper and then you rub baby oil all over it so that the opaque white comes off and then you're left with basically an acetate. For me, I've always had a printer that prints directly on acetate, or before that I used to get people to print on acetate. So it's kind of tricky for me. It's always been that way. I never was a screen printer without the digital component of it when it came to getting this piece. And other than this, it's the only part where I need something that you plug in. Other
Do
or
you,
and my pressure washer.
Now, mentioning the acetate,
Yeah.
how hard is it to find now? Because now the printable acetates, I mean, architects used to use those a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming they're hard to find.
So they are hard to find. We have to order it from a screen printing specific company. It's called Screen Tech. If anyone is looking, it's out in Mississauga. You can't, especially the size that we use, because for us, bigger is always better. You can't find them other places. They're not in art studios.
Yeah.
You can't find them at business depots or Staples or whatever they are. We have to go specifically to the screen printing world. And at the very beginning of this all, because we used to go there, there's a screen printing place. It's gone tragically, but it's called GNS Dye, and it used to be right at the top of McCall, and they would print for us. But I really hated relying on outside sources to do it for us. So I bit the bullet and I bought a printer. It was like $300. Again, probably the only part that I need to plug in when it comes to my craft. But we bit the bullet and we did it that way. So the acetates are tricky. They're also not cheap, but then you get this like really cool thing left over at the end. My office is normally littered with them. They're normally like all over the place. Which you'll see. I'll actually have to tidy up for you guys when I do the interview.
Yeah, because I remember, Chris, you remember we used to sell Mylar and acetates and all kinds of stuff. And I remember we used to have tons of acetate you could run in photocopiers also.
Yeah.
And this day and age, I mean, no one uses that stuff except for, printers like you.
Yeah. So I have, like I said, I have to go very specifically to a screen printing company. And I've only found one company that has what we need. And if they close down, I'm in big trouble. So I hope.
What about your paints and stuff? Is it still easy to find?
So also no, I'm picky. So I don't use Speedball mostly for our shirts. I use something called Permaset Aqua. And the reason I use them is that they're I'm going to say this wrong, opacity, the opaqueness of the color on the screen. I haven't found anything that compares. I'm not putting anything down because I don't want to put any other Canadian companies down, but I find Speedball and the other one that I looked into, I think it's called Green Galaxy. The inks are okay, but they're not as solid as I like. So like I said, I used to buy Permaset from GNS Dye, but they've closed down. You can get them from above ground, but only on McCall. There's a Junction location and I live in the Junction and they don't carry it. So when I need to get them from and also GNS Dye has the best price, and I'm really picky about my materials. So when I need them, I have to place the order and then I have to schlep all the way to Thornhill, which is like a suburb just outside of Toronto. That's where their warehouse is now. So no, it's not convenient. Like there are times when I remember being like, I'm going to move to Speedball. It's so much more affordable. I can get it everywhere. And I picked up their neon yellow, which is, I use the neon yellow a lot in all of our images. And I did one run with it. And you couldn't see the image because it's like this bright yellow on a dark purple for one of our shirts. And it just, and these things matter so much to me. So yeah. So I use, and then I also have guilt because it comes in from Australia. So then when I think about like the green footprint of having this ink that I love so much fly halfway across the planet so I can get it. And I know they're not bringing it in specifically for me. I'm not like a narcissist, but I know I'm contributing. I have to manage that, reality, but it's really great ink and it's worth the drive into the suburbs. But no, it's not easy. It's and in Toronto, more and more art studios and art stores are closing down, right? Like
lots of them, yeah.
They're slowly disappearing.
But you're lucky downtown wise, there's still a few left. I live in a suburb, and the ones that were here, they're long gone.
Yeah, no, that's the blessing of Toronto, right? Is that there's just more of everything condensed into a smaller space. That being said, I'm leaving Toronto to drive to the suburbs where you are to grab the ink because that's where the affordable warehouses are, right? Like that's the space that they could afford to have it because, McCall was too much money, so they left.
Have you ever heard the story of Robert Gamblin? I think it's Robert Gamblin. He does Gamblin paints, which is an oil-based.
Oh yes, oil paints. Yes.
So he basically, I think he did some acrylic stuff too, but he basically got so frustrated with paints. Like he was like, well, I don't want to get this imported stuff. I don't want that. So he had a bathtub, and he just started making his own paints, and they were so high quality.
Yeah.
That he ended up selling paints. And I almost picture you in like 10 years going, you know what? This ink company went out of business that I love. Okay, let's figure that you're going to be like Breaking Bad. You
Yeah.
have a bathtub, and you're just gonna be mixing your own inks.
Got a trailer. We're like busting through the desert.
I'm just picturing you doing this. Like it's like seems so
or
much up your alley. Like eventually, like if this runs out, it's like
Yeah.
okay, well I'm gonna need a big oar to
Don't
stir it in a bathtub, and I'm making my own inks.
don't
she's
even
gonna
go.
look at the background in a few years from now. You'll see it. It'll be like Fight Club making soap and all that stuff.
Listen, anything is possible. And when I show you, I'll show you like my downstairs bathroom is what we use to print. It looks like I slaughtered a clown down there because there is so much color all over the wall that you're absolutely right. An ink production company could totally be the next down the line, especially once my offspring have gotten out of my house and I
So
can.
let me ask you this. You just mentioned that. Do you yell at your kids for spilling the paint anywhere?
Don't even joke. Okay, so it's not even just that I yell at my kids. My both of my children have shown interest in screen printing, which I love. Like who doesn't love that? But if I'm in the middle of a run, and when you work with water-based inks, like you should see this place. It looks like a potion, like a witch's workshop when I'm working down here because I have humidifiers going to keep the ink from drying, and then I also have heat guns going. So I am like trying to literally battle all the elements. And I'm a bit of a disaster. So there's ink all over the place. And if I get ink on my hand or on my thing, and then I touch the shirt, everything is ruined, right? So my children, especially my youngest, have the ability to smell when I'm in a stressful situation, to come down and join and be like, hey, can I try? And it kills me because I want to be like, yeah, of course you can try, babe. But I'm like, no, get the hell out of here.
And at that point, they have 1,000 questions they want to ask you.
Thousands of questions they want to ask.
Yeah. When
And
you're sitting around doing nothing, they don't care.
Nothing, literally not. I think I could just hear my little one yell. He could smell. We were talking about him. Like I think he just ignore him for now and we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, they both show an interest, which I really love. And sometimes I have like a bin full of kind of old t-shirt prints that didn't go very well. And I will let them come down and we'll just do a few runs, no problem. But sometimes they'll even come down and be like, Mom, can I just print with you? Or they'll like want to stand in front of me and we'll pull together. But because, and I know this sounds so ridiculous, but the angle that my squeegee goes when I'm pulling ink across, the wrong angle will ruin the print. The wrong angle will either put way too little ink or way too much ink through the image and then it's destroyed. So the short answer is, as peaceful as a parent, at the long answer, actually, as I tried to be, yeah, I yell at my kids sometimes. It's great. And even my littlest one, his favorite thing used to be to come down and make rainbows with all of my ink. So we would, like line them all up in that popper kind of like rainbow spectrum. And it would kill me because if you drop one of my ink, like it cracks open and it spills everywhere, and I don't buy cheap. Yes, I yell at my children. Yes, I yell at my children.
Now, summertime's coming up. You're getting ready for a lot of shows, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. So we are, and we're actually trying some new things, which is always really nerve-wracking. We really want to try some tattoo conventions. So we just got into two, they're called Ink Circus. So we're doing that for our summer. We try really hard to only do selective shows because we really try to spend time with our kids and we try to camp and we try to be like as family-like as possible during the summer. So we are doing, like I said, Ink Circus. And then the only other two summer shows that we do are, we got into Fan Expo last year, which was, again, really expensive and really scary. And for the first 2 days, we regretted everything. I'm like, we're not doing this again. And then the last 2 days were so phenomenally successful. I was like, I love this place. Like we signed up
Really?
again. That
Oh,
again.
wow.
Fan Expo this year, there was a lot of controversy over it. They had opened up Artist Alley, I think, to be like significantly larger than it usually was. So a lot of the veterans who had been in Artist Alley weren't happy. And then apparently there was a really massive rise in AI generated art used. Amongst the vendors. So for us, it was our first year. We heard a lot of people complain that the sales really sucked for them. So for us, the first 2 days were hard, but it was generally like a really great show for us. So we figured if everyone had a crap year last year, but it was a great show, maybe in the next year is going to be even better.
Yes.
So we're gonna do it. So that's the other one, and then the other one that we do all the time is called Curiosity and Oddities. It's at the Metro Center. So these two shows are really out of our typical comfort zone because they're convention center shows, right? We're typically in
Yes.
church basements or artist spaces. So those are the big ones that we're doing. And then, like I said, we're starting with new places like Ink Circus. The next few months for markets are really, really hard, right? January, everyone is tired. February, there's like some Valentine's Day markets. But it's not typically, and on top of that, remembering I'm also a floral designer. So come Valentine's Day, I'm extraordinarily busy in both worlds.
Yes.
And then March, you can start to see the light, so we have a lot. And the other reality too is we do lots of outdoor shows as well. We purchased this really great custom tent where we do shows in Trinity Bellwoods and Christie Pitts and things like that. But those shows are really hard too because relying on Toronto weather to not
That's it.
ruin
Yes.
your life, it's hard. It's really hard. So there's lots coming up. Um, but it's a weird time. Rob and I, like, our time that we really thrive, which doesn't make sense. It's not even Christmas, it's Halloween. That stretch of Halloween
Oh,
is for sure our most successful time. And I think the reason is because Halloween, all the weirdos are treating themselves. Everyone is like, they're not
oh,
thinking about
nice.
if the next person's going to love it or whatever. It's for them. And
It's
that's what
their
our,
time.
it's our time. That's what I really think happens. So we really look forward to the fall. But
Have you now Chris and I talk about this all the time for the comic industry and stuff like that. Now, my daughter's an example. Have you even thought about the manga crowd?
we've thought about it, especially after what we
Because
witnessed.
it's a lot of the crowd base lot right now, and I from my experience, a lot of young girls.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my son's young boy, like it's a youth movement. There, it is really
Yeah,
exploding.
and
My
they wear T-shirts with all kinds of designs on them.
Yeah. So I think for Rob and I, it doesn't feel, and I hate this word, but it doesn't feel authentic because we don't personally have that same drive to love manga the way other people, like especially younger folks, do. So
Yes.
because so much of the work that we do is like original art, and like occasionally we do fan projects, like we have the Trust Everyone shirt, and it's all the aliens, and we have a Give Peace a Chance, and it's all the typical serial killers from movies, but most of our work is original art. So to play on that manga style when the manga world doesn't really appeal to us, it doesn't feel authentic. So we haven't done it. We haven't
Yeah.
done it, and I don't think we will, because then it feels like we're not staying true to what we love.
Unless your
No,
son
when you
gets into
mentioned
it.
that,
What's that?
If you're talking about how your son's getting into printing, and if he's into manga, then maybe that's your.
It could be. It could. He, like, if you saw his room, it's like filled with like One Piece and all kinds of other. And then, do you want to know the other truth too? Is like, and I don't want to seem like a fuddy duddy, but I might. But sometimes when I look at what he's reading and the portrayal of women, and like, I'm like, I got questions, like I'm like, and it's one of those things where, like, I don't want to be that parent who,
yes, that's it.
do you know what I
Yes.
mean? And like, and especially I'm raising two sons, like I have a responsibility to have more good men in the world, because I truly think the world needs more good men. There's a bunch of really shitty dudes out there. So I'm like watching and I'm like, and even in one of the One Piece things, I think there's like a dude who stole a woman's underwear or something. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I have questions, like I have
Yes.
questions, and there's things that I have to talk to my sons about, because this, like, again, I'm truly not a believer in cancel culture. I don't want my sons to not look at things because they're inappropriate, but I certainly want to have a conversation about what makes them inappropriate so that they can
That's it. Long as you explain it, that's it.
that's my goal. Like, I don't want to be like, well, you can't ever see that again because they did or said something wrong. But we can have a conversation about why those things are problematic, what you can still enjoy about whatever media you're interacting with. But yeah. So, like, yes, maybe
But
we could do something with our sons, but
reason I brought up manga was when you mentioned going to Fan Expo,
yes.
you know, I hate to say it, even Fan Expo crowd, I would say I'm surprised they're into your shirts because they're true geeks, you know.
Absolutely. So you're right. And we actually had one person come up to us and be like, "You guys are so brave for doing this because like your work is weird and it doesn't speak to people." So I understand why you bring up the manga and that entire kind of like anime movement. That was fire. Like if you had the right booth and you were selling the right characters and you were doing the right adorable version of those characters, your table was fire. Um, what Rob and I offered, which was like, I mean, makes perfect sense because we're like as niche as someone could be. We offered something different. So if you went in there looking for anime or manga or whatever, you had millions of people to choose from.
But that's what I mean, where the manga crowd might, let's say you do a manga convention, you're surrounded by manga, Pokemon, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have Rebecca on the corner here, and people might say, "Hey, what's this?"
That's exactly what happened. And those first few days when we did it, Rob and I were like really depressed because it's an expensive show. And I'm like, we did okay, but I was like, no one wants our stuff. Like no one wants original art. And then I think it was the last 2 days. And so many of the folks who go through, they buy like the 4 day pass, right? So some of these people literally go through every single day. And so it was those
I think the
last,
first day is just looking around
it's
and
all
not buying
reconnaissance
it.
work. It's
Yeah,
all
don't buy
reconnaissance.
anything the first day. Buy it second and third day.
This is exact and bearing in mind, like our shirts are our t-shirts are $30, our sweatshirts are 50. And for us, we work so hard to keep those prices accessible for screen printed apparel. I think that's great. But when you're going through and people are selling $5 keychains or $5 prints, $30 seems like an expensive
No,
investment.
it doesn't because the key change and stuff is some no insult to those people selling. Well, to a certain point, yes,
Yeah.
but they're just what do you call it? Inkjet printing it, putting it on a keychain, and that's it. And it's
This
not even their art.
this is just it, right? So
So $5. I'd rather give you $30 than $5 to that. And I've been telling my daughter this because she goes to manga shows and stuff like that. I go, do not buy prints that are printed on for an inkjet printer unless that person has the hand drawn that. Then
yes.
I don't mind you buying it.
Yes, which just on behalf of all artists and makers and weirdos, thank you for trying to put that in your daughter's psyche. Um, but yeah, so this is what happened at Fan Expo is that the last 2 days there was this wild influx of sales because we did offer something that you didn't see at every table. And it really and we do, like I said, we do have some fan based images, like our Trust No One shirt, but you can see it has like a spectrum of aliens in it, like all of our favorite aliens. and
Yes.
and that shirt definitely sold the best there. But even like this one, like even our sunflower shirt, we had people literally just like walk by, people we'd never seen before, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll take one of those," and then they just left. So it did work out. Could we make more money if we kind of placated to the desires of the masses? Probably.
But you
And
don't want to do that. No.
I won't. And this is why Rob and I will always kind of be the struggling artist, because we won't placate to the masses. Like
That's it. Yeah.
even this heated rivalry shirt that we just made. I don't know if you've watched the show. It's about hockey players. It's really great. You should check it out. But we even the way we did this shirt, because there's a million heated rivalry shirts out there, we did it in a joke. We kind of poked fun at this one image that is blowing up over the internet. Without giving too much away, if you ever watch it, it's this, there's a line in it, it says stupid Canadian wolf bird, and what he's really afraid of is the noise a loon made, and everyone's making these shirts with a loon, and I'm like, that's so cute, I want to make a wolf bird. So we took this image and we made a joke out of it. And so is that going to appeal to as many people? Probably not. But will it appeal to those who like to, if I'm going to swear, like take the piss out of, yeah, if we're going to laugh at, we
But
don't take ourselves
yes.
that seriously. Does it lead to less
And
money? Yes, it leads to less
but
money.
that's the struggle all creative people get into. And Chris and I've talked about it, for comic books also.
Yeah.
Very easy way to sell your books. I
Yep.
mean, you can have a big-breasted woman on the cover and you can
Yep.
sell hundreds of copies.
Yep.
But we don't do that.
No.
We do it tastefully. We do what we want.
Yeah, I can actually, it's so funny you say that, because I remember at the very beginning of COVID, Rob had started to do kind of like a biographical diary based comic, super rudimentary, super simple. He did it and it started to blow up. Like it started to gain a lot of traction. And I was like, Rob, this is amazing. He's like, I hate it. I'm like, what? He's like, I hate it. Everyone likes it. And it's just me kind of bitching about all the miserable things that I'm feeling. And he just stopped. And I was like, oh my God, why did you stop doing that? The people liked it. He was like, yeah, it didn't feel right. So he stopped. And I remember being like, fucking artists, like, but I also completely get it, because if your heart's not in it and it doesn't
it's those crazy people you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm crazy too, man. I made a wolf. It's like, it's not going to be as successful as the pretty pictures, but you just got to do what feels right to you, because then what's the point? Like, what's the point of being a creative if, like, obviously we want to sell shirts and make money because we got to pay the bills and our kids are in a million programs and you got to live. But I don't want to sell my soul. Like,
no, you don't want to. I mean, you know what? We can live. You know what? We're happy where we are.
Yes, I am. This is just, and this is the other thing that I like always trying to keep in mind, and I'm trying to put into my sons, is that if you have enough, the goal shouldn't be to have more. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably one of the roots of everything that's wrong with our society, is that everyone is trying to stockpile more, and it's fueled by greed. When the reality is, if you're satisfied and if you have enough, my God, you've won.
I think we should probably wrap up on that line, because I think that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. And if you don't make a t-shirt of that line, what you just said, then you're losing out on something.
Missing an opportunity.
That's exactly it. I think you should re-listen to this and take some of your own quotes and start making t-shirts, because you really got this wonderful idea of like art and what it is. Like, we always try and define art, and you do a wonderful job at it. And so I think it's quite beautiful. But I think we should wrap up. Just a quick question, like, where can people see you?
Where can people see me? Okay, so My Moving Parts at Instagram, like that's the one where
I'll put the links up at the bottom.
Perfect, thank you. So our My Moving Parts Instagram is where you can see me making a fool of myself in the attempt to sell our shirts, and mymovingparts.com is where you can grab yourself a My Moving Parts shirt, or a comic, or a tote bag, or a sweatshirt.
Awesome.
And I have to ask you one last question that we've asked Hoche. Who'd win in a fight, Superman or Hulk?
Oh, that's ridiculous. Superman. I don't even understand Superman. And listen, I'm not like a comic books geek here, okay? So I'm sure there's like a lot of people who are going to completely contradict everything that I said. But I seen that first movie, and that dude flew around the earth with such strength that he turned back time. Like, the Hulk might be strong, but he couldn't do that. So the answer is obviously Superman. Like,
this is the best answer we've gotten so far.
This is passion here. Sure.
Yeah, so easy. Like, it's Superman. Well, and I'm sure now, of all the things I've ever done or said, the controversial, that'll be the one people hate me the most for. Hi, welcome to the studio. I can show you what real DIY looks like. So this is where we burn our screens. It's a table that I've literally made from like wood that I got from Home Depot. The glass I paid for, and I cure the screens with a 500 watt work bulb. This someone donated to me, so we put our shirts on when they're drying. This bad boy is actually one of the few things that I purchased for myself. It is a 4-color, 1 platen printing press. It was like a big grown-up purchase, and I'm really grateful for it. If you want to come in a little bit further, I'll show you. We stay there approximately so you don't get hurt. This is a vacuum table that I built by myself. It is connected to a shop vac, and that's how, when I print paper, it vacuums the paper down and makes it stick. And as you can see, it's sort of chaos in here, but that's how we do. And here are some of our screens. There is our stock. Here is a wild collection of the ink I use, and then everything else in between. You don't need to show that entire thing. And then, yeah, if you want like a quick, non-judgmental journey to where we use this area as well. I've got more screens here. I've been blessed with a giant laundry room sink. I do a lot of screen washing here, and you know, despite my spouse who hates it, there's often a pressure washer connected, which leads into this bathroom. And this is where I burn and clean out my actual screens, like not the ink, but the photo emulsion. So that's the mini tour of the studio. If you have any questions about how anything is done, you can always reach out, but that was the studio. Thanks for coming along.